What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. I'm Drew Dinkmeyer, joined by two of the best in the business, breaking down the injury news and information. You need the analysis you need to get ready for this big NBA slate. 8 games on the docket. It's Justin Fan from Underdog Fantasy and Mike Gallagher from Established Run. Justin, how are you doing today?
Doing great, man. Can't complain. Holiday season coming up. So, just getting through it, and relatively quiet slate until Boston threw a bit of a wrench in there, about an hour ago. But, excited to break it down with you guys.
Mike, you are here once again, despite my pleas for you to rest. How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good today, actually. Hopefully the last day. Hopefully I can test negative today. But feeling pretty good. Just a little sore throat, a little coughing, little TMI stuff I won't get into. But feeling pretty good. And it was Justin holiday season yesterday. Now it's the Neemias Queta season.
Knowing Gallagher and how he plays through all the tags, this was definitely like a AD LeBron fake Q tag for him today.
For sure.
Yeah, guy's out of control. I was trying to rest him, but the guy's out of control. All right, let's get to the game by game stuff on this 8-game slate. Let's start with Detroit and Philadelphia. On the Detroit side, they're still without Jalen Duren and Marvin Bagley, also without the G Leaguers. What are your notes on the Pistons today, Justin?
So we've gotten some lineup consistency from Monty Williams. They've run the same 2 starting lineups the last couple games. Cade, Killian Hayes, Asar, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Isaiah Stewart. We have seen Ivy's minutes continue to wildly fluctuate from game to game, 29, 24, 22, 34, 21. I would say the notable thing for me in the last 2 games when they've gone smaller is Cade's rebound rate has kind of gone up. He's gotten 6 rebounds in each of the last 2 games with the smaller lineup. But this team is, deeply unserious right now and really hard to trust. They're running it back today against a Sixers team that I think that game was a little more one-sided than even the 18, shows. And probably another game where Joel Embiid sits out the fourth quarter. I think it's been 7 games this season where he hasn't played in the fourth quarter at all. It's probably 8 tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw that stat. He has averaged 32 in those 7 games or something from Basketball Reference. That was a crazy stat. But yeah, we're seeing a little bit tighter rotation. They had a ton of foul trouble in this game too. We saw Stewart pick up a couple, and then Weissman somehow fouled out. But yeah, those are only their notes. And then I'll add, Cade's playing better. Cade's actually shot the ball a lot better at a pick and roll. He's not I would refuse to play him. This game's a 16-point spread, so it's really hard to get in there. But it should be a pretty good amount of Bojan, pretty good amount of Asar. Killian's minutes really fluctuate a little bit. It's so much push and pull with him and Ivy. But everything else not too much to add.
Philadelphia side of the equation, they are on the front end of a back-to-back here, and they have nothing listed on the injury report. That's always a little bit concerning with Philadelphia. Any alarm bells, anything to be worried about here, Justin, on the 76ers side of things?
No, I don't think they've been too bad in terms of shenanigans this season. So maybe, I don't know, Batum would be someone that I'd watch, but I don't think it's been past the 130 IR, which is one of the major ones of the day, the 130 and the 530. We haven't gotten anything yet. So I feel pretty good that we're not going to get anything, though, obviously anything can happen.
I do miss the days of the just 130 and 530 report, but not too much to add there. They're in Charlotte tomorrow. We know that, as Dink knows, Saturdays are back-to-back rest bonanzas. So maybe something tomorrow, but I think they'll be good to go today in a 16-point. I mean, this game's going to be disgusting. They should score a ton though.
Yeah, it also seems to me, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it seems to me that these Joel Q tags against weaker teams in the league, he seems to play through the Q tags against some of the weakest teams in the league a little bit more frequently than other Q tags. I'll just note his misses this year: Minnesota, Boston, New Orleans.
Wow, Dink's pushing the running from the grind narrative.
Has not missed the games against Detroit. Has not missed the games against Indy that he's been listed questionable, or Washington that he's been listed questionable. Just saying, there might be, might be a little stat padding going on. Since we gotta pick apart the narratives on the MVP candidates this year. It can be Joel stat padding.
Yeah. This is a Nikola Jokic truther to his core, just trying to throw shade at Joel whenever he can.
All right, let's move to Indiana and Washington. On the Indiana side of things, they're still without Andrew Nembhard and Jalen Smith. G Leaguers are questionable, so hopefully we'll have no issues over game balls tonight. Justin, what are your notes on the Pacers?
Nothing on my end. Don't have anything particular. Gallagher, you have anything you want to talk about?
Just the crazy game total on this. The 134 over on team total for the Pacers is pretty nuts. But keep an eye on Obi Toppin versus Andrew Nembhard. Aaron Nesmith. I think they would certainly want to use Nesmith to guard Kyle Kuzma. So despite how this matchup would be so good for Obi, I could see the minutes kind of cutting down. Ben Mathurin, we saw his minutes spike and then kind of come down a little bit. Playing a lot better. Carlisle's talked him up too. So that's certainly a spot you want to attack. It's good this game is in Washington. I think it's 8-point spread now. So just absurd game environment. Top 2 in pace here. So and then top 2 in pace, top 2 in rim points allowed. So it's just this is the game of the night here.
On the Washington side of things, Jordan Poole is questionable with a left ankle sprain. They're also without Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright, Johnny Davis. So they've been thinner in the backcourt of late. Their G Leaguers also not with the team as well. Jules Bernard, Eugene Omoyori. So potentially a little bit thinner here. What's your notes on the Jordan Poole injury situation, Justin?
Yeah, I don't have a ton of information on when he suffered the injury. We haven't gotten any shoot-around information either, but we know in this spot, Corey Kispert would step in the starting lineup if Jordan Poole has to miss. And like you said, they don't have Shamet, DeLon Wright, Johnny Davis, so they are a little thinner in the backcourt right now with Seymour, Tyus Jones, and Jared Butler. One guy I will note is Bilal Coulibaly, who's played 31 minutes off the bench in each of his last 2 games. I think his minutes will look really, really nice if Jordan Poole has to miss, just given their lack of guard depth. But Denny Avdia, he's not going to be on the perimeter waving his arms, asking Jordan Poole to pass on the ball if Poole's out. I think he probably want to be the biggest beneficiary just in terms of usage rate if Poole has to miss. And then obviously Kyle Kuzma would command a large portion of the offense. 260 total, like we talked about earlier. Really good game environment. A little lukewarm on Corey Kispert. Obviously more amenable to him in this spot, just given the game environment and the amount of points that are going to be scored. But he's been very kind of disappointing as a starter in the past, averaging like 12-4 or 12-3-1 in 31 minutes a game as a starter last season. So I wouldn't get too excited about him in general. But obviously a really good spot for all the Wizards overall.
Yeah, I would hope if Kispert starts, I would hope he's chalky because this is the terrible matchup for him. Despite the high team total and how fast the Pacers play, even with the pace, they still allow the fewest catch and shoot points per game. They're just the biggest rim funnel. Like, it's not even close. But so the Poole thing, just some background. This is the ankle that he hurt 3-4 weeks ago. He got that late scratch on that Saturday, and then he missed another game because of it. So this is a lingering thing. So could certainly see him missing.
Let's move to New Orleans and Charlotte. On the New Orleans side of things, Cody Zeller listed available. They're still without Larry Nance Jr., Matt Ryan, Kyra Lewis, and Darion Sebron. Zion Williamson, questionable with left ankle sprain. Justin, what are your notes on Zion?
Yeah, Willie Green downplayed the severity of the ankle injury, said it's getting better, that it's fine, that he's going to be day-to-day. He suffered that ankle sprain on Monday late in the game, but stayed in, was dealing with some soreness afterwards. The comments from Willie Green, I don't really take that seriously. I think we've seen kind of similar comments from him in the past, and some Pelicans injuries have lingered. I would lean towards Zion playing today, but I don't have like a strong lean. I'd probably go 60-40, 65-35, somewhere in that range. We saw Dyson Daniels get the start for Zion on Wednesday. And a couple notes here for me. Valanciunas, his minutes have been really solid for 7 games now when they haven't been in blowouts. He hasn't dipped below 29 minutes in his last 7 non-blowout games. So his floor has been really nice with minutes without Larry Nance Jr. kind of nipping at his heels. And Trey Murphy III has, his emergence, and his return that we got to talk about too, because if Zion does end up playing, I do think there's like a slight bit of a floor on Zion's minutes. We saw that on the 4th of this month when against the Kings, when Zion played 28 minutes in that game and Trey Murphy played 30 minutes off the bench. So, if Zion is in kind of any way limited or doesn't look 100%, could see a tiny bit of a floor in his minutes with Murphy back in the mix.
Yeah, and I'll just add that we saw Dyson start, and kind of the way Willie Green was talking, he regretted it. Like, well, because we were all expecting Trey Murphy to start, and he pulled him out pretty quick. And he's like, "Yeah, we thought it was a good matchup. We liked that starting lineup," and he got off it pretty quick. So if Zion did miss, I would be pretty surprised if Trey Murphy doesn't start here. In a really good matchup, Hornets are terrible defensively. Their rim defense has really been slipping after a pretty good start too. So, it would be a really good spot, especially if Zion missed.
Off what Mike was saying, first half minutes on Wednesday, Dyson Daniels only played 9 and Trey Murphy played 18 first half minutes. So that kind of tells you where the usage was before it got out of hand. Yeah,
and the Najee Marshall minutes really spiked last game because of Herb Jones' foul trouble. So those two are kind of intertwined for those keeping kind of track at home. Charlotte side of things, injury report still full. No LaMelo Ball, no Cody Martin, no Frank Ntilikina. Mark Williams still listed doubtful with this lower back contusion, and PJ Washington listed questionable with left shoulder / bicep tendonitis. Justin, what are your notes on the Hornets?
Yeah, I think Mark Williams is dead to play. He was asked recently kind of his status, and he said he doesn't think he's going to play today or tomorrow. So I think he's going to miss at least 2 more games. PJ Washington, the shoulder injury is definitely concerning. So left shoulder injury, they announced he was doubtful, straight doubtful right away, which is a bit of a red flag. And then they signed Nathan Mensah for some front court depth yesterday to a 2-way deal. So I am a little nervous about PJ Washington here and his ability to play. Would probably go slightly on the doubtful side if I had to guess. We saw them recall Leaky Black and Nick Smith Jr., so they have some more bodies tonight if they need it. And we saw, on Wednesday when PJ got hurt early, Nick Richards' minutes, spiked because they don't have that front court depth really. Played 40 minutes. So wouldn't expect 40 minutes again today if both Mark Williams and PJ Washington out, but he can definitely get up there just because JT Thor is kind of their only front court depth now with them thinned out. So I Mark Williams, I think, is all but officially out, and then a little concerned about PJ Washington as well.
Yeah, I'm a little upset you took the G League signee 2-way on Nathan Mensah from me. I was excited to talk about that, averaging 10 and 9 in his 14 G League games. Mr. Mensah, but everything you kind of said there. I think he's probably. I would say he's like a doubtful to me, Washington, just because of the Leaky Black and then signing this 2-way, cutting Teo Maladon, who they've liked to make this move. So it seems like he might miss multiple games here.
So what do things look like if we don't get PJ Washington? We know this is a Hornets team that has played really tight, kind of on the whole. Who does that impact most? Last game we saw Nick Richards get up to 40 minutes, which is kind of wild to think about. But what are your thoughts here? I'll start with you, Mike. Yeah,
JT Thor would definitely fill in and play pretty heavy minutes here. And then Miles Bridges' minutes could be really, really up there. We've seen him touch like 40 sometimes. So it'd just be tight. Brandon Miller will play a ton. I think Gordon Hayward's minutes would be a little bit higher. They'd run ish overlap a little bit more. McGowan's would play more. So I think they'd just run real tight, like 8-man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be like a tight 8-man.
Yeah, I would expect the 8-man too, because you look at their other 3 available outside those 8, that would be Leaky Black, Nick Smith Jr., and James Bouknight, right? So I don't think any of those guys are really helping right away. And we've seen them, Clifford play tight. So I would expect an 8-man. And we saw a little bit of what it would look like, right? Because PJ only played 4 minutes on Wednesday and, would take some off of Nick Richards, give it to JT Thor. But rest is fairly in line with what I would expect.
Yeah. 40 minutes and Nick Richards gets 5 field goal attempts. We take an under on him a couple of games ago, and in 15 minutes he gets like 8 field goal attempts. Not that anyone's tilting about it. Let's move to Atlanta and Toronto. On the Atlanta side of things, DeAndre Hunter once again questionable with this right knee soreness. He's been missing some games, and we've seen Garrison Matthews slide in the starting lineup. Bogdanovic's minutes spike. Jalen Johnson's still out, going to be out for a while. Justin, what are your notes on DeAndre Hunter?
Yeah, I haven't heard any comments from their coaching staff, and I don't really have a ton of intel on what way DeAndre Hunter's leaning. Given he's missed 2 games, I think he's probably truly 50-50 for this one, just given the knee soreness. And we saw the Hawks kind of alternate Matthews starters the last 2 games. Garrison got the start 2 games ago, then Wesley came in there and started last game. I think Wesley just makes more sense with the starting unit. I think would expect him to draw another start if DeAndre ends up missing. But that role is like a 16 to 18 minute role. You know, it's like a nominal starter role. So that both those guys are really irrelevant. It's, you know, the two that have really played a lot of minutes has been Sadiq Bey, 38 and 40 minutes the last 2 games that DeAndre Hunter has missed. Would expect high 30s once again if Hunter's out. And then Bogdan Bogdanovic is serving as that, you know, real fifth starter, you know, playing 36, 32 minutes his last 2 games. So, you know, kind of beyond the rotation stuff, I think we've seen, you know, a pretty good indication of what to expect the last 2 games without Hunter. What kind of rate stuff, what kind of, you know, what's the trickle effect, you know, in terms of Hunter's absence? Who does that, you know, impact the most to you, Mike?
I mean, we had a couple of rotation notes. Overlap season, we're seeing a lot of Okongwu and Capella overlap. That was a big note. But yeah, and then the other matchup note was a little bit surprising to me that OG Anunoby guarded DeJounte, not Trey. I was a little surprised by that, and then Trey just went off. So is that going to switch? But yeah, Hunter's rates aren't really going to impact. Just a matter of minutes, right? Like, you know, Bay's playing. The 3 big takeaways are Bogdan, Bey, and then overlap to me.
Yeah.
And then other than that, I think, you know, and then on the flip side of that, Siakam, I noted on the show last time that if they didn't start Hunter, it was Siakam smash time, and that's what happened. They didn't have anybody to guard him. They were rim funnel, and he played really, really well there. So, but yeah, and also this knee thing is bad. He's had this right knee thing multiple times, multiple week injuries. So this is his quote unquote bad knee. So could certainly miss. Doesn't sound serious, but as you mentioned, not too much besides the context of the injury.
You also mentioned, Mike, that last game, OG Anunoby got the DeJounte Murray assignment to our surprise instead of the Trey Young assignment. Do you think that changes this game after Trey Young went for 35 and 17 last game?
I mean, they won, so I don't know. Like, I was trying to, for matchups, I read whoever, for the bad matchup, whoever OG's, I don't know who he's guarding. Like, I think he would guard DeJounte again, but maybe not. So I don't really have a great feel there. But I'll add, though, they've been a little, like, even last year, Nick Nurse didn't really put OG on Trey. He did it in 1 of 3 games. So that was kind of weird. But they like Schroeder a lot. They put Schroeder on a lot of guys when I don't think they should. So I would lean he guards DeJounte, but not confident.
And shout out to Toronto and the starters for living up to their promise that they'd play better. Justin, the people always want to peek behind the curtain into how Underdog is so quick at getting out news and information. And what I want to know is how much pressure is there around the number of T's in Matthews right before hitting send whenever this lineup comes out? One T for Garrison, 2 T's for West. Like, how much pressure is it on your guys and your team to get the right number of T's when you hit the send on this tweet?
Yeah. That's something we started to keep a note on. I got some feedback on the first 1-2 games ago when we put Matthews with 1 T that people were confused if it was Garrison or Wesley. So we put in Garrison in the Garrison Matthews, or Wesley Matthews rather, last game, just to clarify. But that isn't one that trips me up. I think the one that took me like 2 years to finally pick up on was Ish Wainwright. I used to spell it like Adam.
Oh, with a W.
Oh yeah.
I used to always go W, and I finally after 2 years figured out there's no W. It's just the RIGHT at the end. Yeah, that's the one that tripped me up for the longest time.
Toronto side of this game, nothing on the injury report here notable other than Christian Koloko has some sort of respiratory illness that is lingering months, and there's been little update on that. It seems like we've avoided the starter change for now with the recent string of play. Any other news or notes on Toronto, Justin?
Nothing from my end. Yeah, I mean, all 5 starters put up pretty solid plus minuses. I think everybody was plus 15 or better outside of Scotty Barnes. So kind of staved out that conversation. It would be, I mean, obviously the conversation was around Gary Trent Jr. starting. Would it have been Schroeder or Pirtle that would have gone?
I think Schroeder. I think Schroeder for Trent is the thing that makes the most sense in the world. But yeah, I mean, that's also biased from us being that was what we expected was going to be the starting lineup kind of coming into the season, and we got that wrong. So that was my assumption.
Yep. Mobley's down 6 to 8 weeks, man. Oh man, Cavs just got hit. That's brutal.
Yeah, I know the Cavs aren't on the schedule today, but a couple people are asking about Cavs stuff. So can we just hit that real quickly?
Yeah.
For the people for the season-long bros. Darius Garland is going to be out a while. Mobley's now going to be out a while. Mike, you're King season-long bro. So what are you thinking from a transactional standpoint for the season-long players out there?
I mean, they got to reshuffle this rotation. Certainly, Craig Porter Jr. will be in the rotation. I would think they would just make Max Strus more of a 3. They're going to have to bring in Okoro to start one way or another. And then I think Dean Wade probably just has to continue to start. They really like him for defense. So that would be my lean. They like Karis LeVert off the bench kind of regardless. He would have a massive role. So I would think they go Donovan, Strus, Okoro, Wade, Allen, LeVert off the bench, Niang off the bench, Craig Porter off the bench, Tristan Thompson. That would kind of be my lean for the rotation. How do you feel about that, Fan?
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, they've been playing Okoro a ton, regardless of. So he's naturally will slide in there and
Mitchell's
play.
usage, man. Mitchell's usage is going to be insane.
Well, so this is where I was going to say is I think that's where they start. I don't know how long that lasts because I don't know. They might get off to really tough starts offensively with that much weight on Donovan Mitchell's shoulders, and they might have to move to a Karis LeVert in the starting lineup just to take some pressure off, and then they can stagger out with Craig Porter Jr. in the second unit because having two massive usage guys in the second unit isn't usually necessary to generate offense in the NBA. Like we see like the Kings, for example, with Malik Monk, they could just have Malik Monk out there and that's like enough to generate offense in the NBA in second units. So I agree that that's where they start and they see how it goes, but I could definitely see Karis LeVert getting moved into the starting lineup just if they're like really struggling to generate any offense. This is putting a huge responsibility on Donovan Mitchell and Max Strus's shoulders because Okoro and Dean Wade aren't doing any heavy lifting. And Jared Allen is very dependent on the lob game, which is not really Donovan Mitchell's game either. That was more Darius Garland's game. So you're taking a hit in a lot of different directions on the usage side of things. From a season-long perspective, Karis LeVert, obviously the kind of the immediate grab here. I think deeper leagues, you could get into the Isaac Okoro and Craig Porter Jr. stuff. Even in like medium-sized league, Craig Porter Jr. might have enough of a role off the bench, especially Craig Porter Jr. You'd want to see LeVert in that starting lineup. You'd want to see some time alone for Craig Porter Jr. in the second unit, and that would signal confidence for that.
Let me ask this question: like, wouldn't if you want to see LeVert succeed, or as a manager, if you have him on your roster, wouldn't you rather him come off the bench and have some
100%?
I think he's going to play starters minutes regardless. He's going to have to play mid-30s. We've seen him in the spots before where they've been shorthanded. His minutes get up there, man. They might play him 38 minutes even on a good amount of nights when they especially need his offense, right? And they're playing from behind or something like that, right? So, I just wanted to kind of chime in with that,
Yeah, I think that's what you'd want as well. I think that's what we'll start with, and we'll see what we get. I think if you're like a Strus owner, you probably, which I am in the industry pickup league, you'd probably want LeVert next to Strus and Mitchell, so you have a little bit more buffer there. Because this could really hurt Strus from a percentage standpoint, even though the volume is going to be good. You kind of want a player like that to not be overextended on the volume side of things. Okay. Let's get back to this slate. Los Angeles.
It's going to be Windhorse says it's going to be a month right now.
For
Garland.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. This is going to be a grind for the Cavs season.
Look,
they were one of these teams that were extremely healthy last year. So it's a different situation altogether. Lakers and the Spurs. On the Lakers side, we've got the questionable tag for Anthony Davis that he played through last game and very early in the game tweaked the ankle, and you were already like, oh boy, here we go again. And Anthony Davis immediately played through it, played really effectively through it. He has been a monster this year. LeBron James questionable, missed the last game. You can say it was due to the left calf contusion that they've been managing, but that's a rest situation. Second night of back-to-back after an overtime loss. National TV game tonight. Rui Hachimura listed available. Taurean Prince also questionable here. Jared Vanderbilt probable. So a lot of tags to work through here. Justin, what are your notes on the Lakers?
Let's start with my guy, Anthony Davis. Definitely had that, status or headed to locker room tweet ready to fire a couple of minutes in. But credit to my guy. He is 6th in the league in minutes played this season. And that doesn't count the in-season tournament final game either. If you count that game, he would be 3rd, I believe. So, I mean, he's been very, very durable, even through these like Knicks and scares. And we've joked about Alex Caruso is definitely the new Anthony Davis. I think he takes that cake now. But I think AD plays through this Q tag. I think we're kind of back to more like generic fake Q tags in this spot for both these guys. So LeBron, I was expecting AD to sit last game too, honestly, in the second leg of back-to-back, but he played through that. So if he played through that, I think he's going tonight. Like you mentioned, LeBron sat last game. He played 41 minutes the game before. That was more of a rest spot than anything. So would fully expect AD and LeBron to be, in there tonight without any sort of like official restrictions or limitations on their minutes.
I hope that the audience really enjoyed that breakdown from Justin, because Mike and I heard none of it, because the two of us immediately ran to the My Guy draft sheet to see how many fines we were just picking up for Justin Fan. So we heard none of it. Both of us just ran to the My Guy spreadsheet. You could see the little sheet, like emojis. Some is an AD by guy owner. So the Justin Fan has turned into Justin Fine. We will address that later on the show. But Gallagher, what are your thoughts on the Lakers tonight?
I can't. I popped in there and I saw you pop in there at the same time. I was like, oh my God, we just got excited. I don't have anything to say. Just thanks for the money for the fine.
Incredible time. I think most likely the Lakers guys are available and able to play through stuff tonight. I think Taurean Prince is the biggest question mark for me with the knee soreness there, but they have plenty of depth to overcome if Taurean Prince is limited in any way, shape, or form. All right. After that, I don't even know.
I thought we got past this last year with Claff being the one that got AD, that no one would take him this year, but you bought fresh blood.
Sorry. We got fresh blood in the mix. We got a Lakers fan, fresh blood in the mix, and he snuck it in there last round. It was probably even after you had made your final pick, so you probably never checked back in. But yeah, the fines are real. All right, on to the San Antonio side of things. They're without Charles Bassey, who left ACL tear. He's out for the year. They, after the one game punishment for Jeremy Sohan off the bench, he's been back in the starting lineup and playing meaningful minutes. Any news or notes on the Spurs, Mike?
Not much. Just it's been a lot of Branham handling. He's been number one in touch time. The assists were not there the last game. Of course, we don't take the under on him, but the minutes are pretty secure. We saw the mid-30s minutes 2 games ago. 28. Pop seems to like him. The other question here is, with the Lakers going back with LeBron, do they run more overlap? We saw no overlap. That's Zach Collins and Wembanyama. I think they would be more inclined to do it, right? Maybe they even started here. We know Pop's kind of been all over the place, but so 0 overlap 2 games ago, 3 minutes overlap 2 games ago. That's something to watch, but I would expect them to start kind of the same way. Malachi Branham looks to be in a pretty secure spot.
Mm-hmm.
The Malachi Branham.
Not going to say anything. It's going to get fined again.
Don't worry, nobody has Malachi Branham. The Malachi Branham note, I just got to get this off my chest, because we took under 2.5 assists the other night, and the guy has 14 potential assists that game when we take under 2.5. He has not had a game with more than like 5 all year long. And so I'm like, oh, maybe we missed something. There's like a ball handling role change. There was something with Jetty Osman like 4 games ago that this happened. And I looked last game, 0 assists, 3 potential assists. Like, what the heck happened, man? Like, I don't even understand. Like, the guy had 7 assists at like halftime, and I was like, I don't know the guy's ever had 7 assists in the game. Just incredible.
Yeah, I think he had like 5 assists combined, like 4 of his last 5 games, and then the one time you guys take a
incredible.
He goes,
Incredible. It's just like, where's this coming from? Outrageous. All right. Orlando and Boston. On the Boston side of things, Markelle Fultz listed questionable here, left knee tendonitis. Wendell Carter Jr. still out with a left hand fracture. I kind of thought, based on commentary, that it was like flipped the other way, that I thought Wendell was a little bit closer than Markelle, but maybe I misinterpreted that. Gallagher, what are your notes on the Magic tonight?
Yeah, he's going to be a game time decision. That's Markelle Fultz. He went through some stuff this morning. He has a couple more checks to go through. He's going to be going through warmups. I think I saw Anthony Black with a starter jersey on when I was watching Mosley's shoot around presser. For what it's worth, we know Fultz, coming off his last injuries, have had a long ramp up. Like, not Middleton bad, but pretty bad. So I won't be surprised if they bring him off the bench, which raises the question. Who do they cut out? Do they if Black starts, they can't cut him out? I don't think, unless they do the Draymond where they pull him out after 8 seconds. But maybe that squeezes out Ingles, maybe it squeezes out Jonathan Isaac, maybe the center overlap isn't there at all, or something along those lines. Garrett Harris seems to be pretty secure, so definitely something to watch there. But yeah, as you mentioned, their timeline, Wendell and Marco, very similar, and he's been doing a lot of on-court stuff. Wendell, that is. But we have a pretty hard limit on Fultz here. I think we got him at 22. How do you feel about Fultz's minutes if he does return today, Fan?
Yeah, I have him at 20 and a half, so I might be even lower than you just because they have some bodies in there, and he's missed over a month. The last time he returned from this injury, he played 29 minutes in that return on November 9th, but I don't think he's anywhere near that today, just given he's missed a month. Like, this is kind of dragged on for a while, and we've gotten like hard outs on Fultz through this process where he hasn't even been anything like doubtful on the injury, where he's like straight out and out these 2 games, like, stuff like that. So I think they'll be pretty careful with him initially in this ramp up. I think 20 to 22 makes a lot of sense, just given they have Ingles, Gary Harris, Cole Anthony, and obviously Anthony Black in the starting lineup too.
Yeah, we should probably come down. I honestly think we should be like 18, 19. Like, he could, if he's benched and limited, he might be like 13, 14 on the low end. Yeah,
because I would figure that if he was ready for even like mid-20s minutes, he would have a decent chance to start. So him coming off the bench tells me he's like pretty limited. We'll kind of see what kind of comments we get pregame from the coaching staff, but I think pretty limited.
It's also a game that's a pretty important game for them, playing Boston, who they had kind of the in-season tournament group stage issue with like them kind of trying to run up the score late on Boston. Boston didn't like that. Then Boston gets in by running up the score on Chicago later. They're near the top of the Eastern Conference standings. And the Magic have found a lot of good defense out of their backcourt from Jalen Suggs and Anthony Black of late. I don't know how much disruption they might want to have for this game. It's now their next 2 games are against Boston. It's this game, this tonight and Sunday. So, if they're going to work him back in, it's going to be in one of these 2 spots. But I would just note that generally, like, it feels like they found something a little bit with these backcourts, and I'm genuinely interested in seeing if Orlando is even active at the trade deadline and what they do, because this like backcourt is the clear area of like, if they could make a big improvement, that's the clear area that they could. And there are going to be names on the docket, like Malcolm Brogdon, I think is a really interesting name for them. But are they going to want to give up on Markelle Fultz or Cole Anthony? And if you're talking about a Brogdon as an acquisition piece, now you need a 3-team because Portland is going to have no interest in like a guard, a Fultz, Cole Anthony, or anything like that. So I'm like really interested to see what Orlando's going to do, because I think they're outperforming their timeline a little bit this season, and that brings like an interesting wrinkle around the trade deadline.
Are you projecting 11-man then tonight with Fultz back in the mix?
We got Hedge Festival. Yeah, we don't know who's coming out, so.
Same.
Yeah.
I had. Well, I guess we'll talk about the Boston side. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's get to the Boston side. So, Kristaps Porzingis listed doubtful. Al Horford ruled out due to rest. Luke Cornett ruled out due to an abductor issue, and Jaylen Brown questionable. So, a lot to take in here. They're on the second night of a back-to-back. Nice to get this information relatively on the early side, and most of it kind of cleared up. But this leaves them with Czech's notes. Not a lot of big men left, Justin. So what are the Boston Celtics going to do at the center position tonight?
Yeah, I'm counting 11 available for them, including Jaylen Brown. So We have Neemias Queta in there currently in pencil as a starting center, and would project him like low 20s minutes. He has foul trouble issue historically, averaging 5.4 fouls per 36 over his career, and I don't think he's ever played more than like 24 minutes in a game once. So what I expect at center today, it's going to kind of be chopped up between three guys, right? Queta, Lamar Stevens, and O'Shea Brissett. I think it's kind of like what they're forced to without Cornet, as well. So that's what I would expect. If Jaylen Brown ends up playing, we'll probably see a 9-man rotation. Drew, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Queta, and their bench would be Pritchard, Hauser, Lamar Stevens, and O'Shea Brissett. Not sure we get any Delano Banton or Steve Mahalik in there yet, but with Jaylen Brown, I think I saw him suffer that knee injury last night. He might have banged knees with Donovan Mitchell at one point, and he was kind of slow to get up. We'll say that he is 4 for 5 this year playing through Q tags. So if I had to guess, I'd go 55-45 that he plays, but that's just a pure guess, just given his history. But yeah, that's kind of like where where it'd start, and obviously Sam Hauser would start, I think, if Jaylen ends up missing this one.
Yeah. First of all, disrespecting Drew Peterson, he signed a 2-way with Boston. But yeah, other than that, I feel pretty good. Neemias Queta is going to start, especially given the way that Orlando attacks the basket. They're number 1 in rim points. Obviously, Queta foul prone, but at least he's a big body down there. And he's a pretty good per minute producer. So he's going to be probably pretty chalky for good reason. We were really trying to grapple on where to put his minutes. Like my first gut was like 26, 27 because O'Shea Brissett in this matchup's not very good to play center. So I think he's got a huge ceiling. His career high is 24 minutes though, Neemias Queta. So I like him, summer league guy. So should be pretty fun to see how that shakes out.
Where did you guys land on the Queta minutes initially?
I wanted to go to like 26, honestly, but we're down at 24 now.
That's where I have him too.
Yeah, but I think he might play 30 though. He might be like you got to play him kind of thing.
The range for me realistically is probably like 20 to 28. Realistically,
yeah.
I think 30 is more of like he's crushing. He's playing really well. He stays out of foul trouble. A lot of things kind of need to go his way for him to hit 30. Right. So I'd say like 20 to 28 seems like a reasonable range.
Yep.
Yeah, the challenge.
We would never project it for 30, just to make that clear.
Yeah, the challenge projecting him is not only on the minute side of the equation, but for me is going to be on like figuring out how all of these rates that he's amassed in largely garbage time situations, how they translate at all to playing with starters. So he's a guy that I will just note, and I'll note this on the DFS show when we talk later, from a projection standpoint, everybody out there in the industry is going to have a very good permanent projection on him, I'm sure.
Yes.
And the good news is with bigs, like it's relatively easy to still accrue fantasy points, but there's a good chance that he's overprojected, just based on he has not played against starter level competition a lot at the NBA level. He has not played with other starters in the starting lineup, eating up usage a lot at the level. So he's going to be an interesting guy to talk through on the DFS show later tonight, but a really tough projection to handle.
Yeah. So kind of behind the curtain a little bit with Kate, I think that's a really good example because when I have my model, I have kind of historical per minute rates, right? But when you have a guy like Queta who's played in very different settings than a normal setting that he would be in as a starter tonight, you need to do like some manual adjusting of his rates down, right? So, for me, the efficiency with the scoring, the use, any sort of usage there, it needs to be adjusted down. And I think the rebounding could probably hold, a lot of the value there, especially because they're smaller today and they don't really have much size in general. But the stuff around that needs massaging in terms of getting to like his true per minute rates in a normalized competitive setting, right? So I think that's one thing that people kind of fall into. They're just they're on Basketball Reference or something. They're looking at his per 36 stats. They're gonna like prorate it, like he's going to play 26 minutes tonight. So let's do, 26 divided by 36 and then, times that by his permanent, like that's not how it should be kind of done. Like I think there needs to be a little bit more manual adjustment in this case. We'll say Queta in that limited amount of time, like 2.4 stocks per 36, not the greatest. So yeah, just I think I'd probably be under market on him relative to where other people will have him.
Yeah. That'll be my guess on the projection side that will come in, but man, it's gonna be tough, and he's like there's just no cheapies in DFS anymore with the way that DraftKings is pricing stuff this year. So he's gonna be very, very popular.
I mean, sometimes you just got to eat the bad chalk, sometimes in some settings,
Yep. All right, Houston and Memphis. On the Houston side of things, Jayshawn Tate doubtful here. Amen Thompson questionable with an illness. Tari Eason not listed on the injury report. I guess consecutive 2010s will get you off the injury report for Tari. He's been incredible of late. Justin, what are your notes on the Houston Rockets tonight? I think we've lost you. Yep.
Oh, I think I'm here. Sorry about that.
There we go. You're good now.
Yeah. So Amen Thompson, there's like a little bug kind of going around there in that Houston locker room, it looks like. But Amen Thompson, the illness is usually like a 1-game thing. So I think there's probably a good chance that he gets kind of back in the mix. Tari Eason now doubtful, or Jayshawn Tate rather, now doubtful, should kind of open up, more minutes in that second unit for, Tari Eason to play a little bit more. I think Jeff Green probably plays a little bit more in that second unit as well, in that front court. But yeah, I would expect Thompson back in the mix today. Obviously, he knocks out, Reggie Bullock. Aaron Holiday has continued to get marginalized. I think last week on the show, and Gallagher and I were talking about Aaron Holiday and his role, and we are kind of, suspicious that the minutes would kind of stay at that level. So I think he's going to continue to kind of get marginalized a little bit.
Yeah, the only other note was Tari Eason closed over Şengün. Tari Eason was so good. He just dominated. So they took away the rim stuff, and they couldn't score for 3 quarters. They did score 38 in the third, but really, really strong mismatch here. I'm probably gonna we'll talk about Bane in a second, but the Rockets match up so well with how this Grizzly team plays.
All right. Houston side. Dylan Brooks, this is a first return back to Memphis.
Revenge.
Any Dylan Brooks revenge notifications today? Will he get ejected within the first 10 minutes of this game as a result of his vengefulness? We can move to Memphis. Memphis side, Desmond Bane still questionable with an illness tag. He got the midday upgrade or downgrade last game on the injury report. Missed that one. We saw Jaren Jackson Jr. have a huge role offensively along with Derrick Rose. Vince Williams Jr. got the start in this one. Jalen Noel was really, really limited in terms of his role in this one, playing behind Derrick Rose. Thought they might need more scoring. They certainly looked like they need more scoring. Jalen Noel was not one of the solutions that they had to it. Still without Ja, still without Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, Brandon Clark, Steve Nam, so on and so forth. Justin, what are your thoughts on Bane's availability tonight?
Kind of same thing with Amen Thompson. 1-game illness. Would think he's back in the lineup tonight. I think the market is priced like he's more likely to play than not, just given that 3.5 point spread that I'm looking at. But yeah, I think we saw Derrick Rose get up to season high 31 points. They missed his scoring, Bane scoring last game, so it makes sense that they would kind of expand his role. And like you said, Jaren Jackson Jr. went absolutely crazy, 44-7, 34% usage. There's not a lot to be excited about on this team. There's just like Jaren Jackson Jr., Derrick Rose, and then there's a bunch of people that are like wingy forwards that play similar-ish minutes, like the Zairs, the Laravias, the Aldamas, the David Roddies. Not too much there to get excited about. Like Roddy's probably gonna get you like 18 to 22 FanDuel points or something, in the start. Not too much to get excited about for me. What do you got, Mike?
Yeah, I'm curious. I'll just add Vince Williams has been really coming here. He's like almost been, really the only guy who's been kind of immune from that, besides the obvious dudes. Like David Roddy's been pretty safe, but Vince Williams is like safe now. We've seen Zaire Williams go bye-bye. We've seen Laravia go bye-bye. We've seen even Santi lose some time here and there. So I think Vince has kind of elevated himself with Ja coming back, that he'll still be in the rotation. Should also note he picked up 2 quick fouls in like 5 minutes of the first quarter. He would have probably had a huge minutes on him. Probably, I think if he didn't have foul trouble, I think he would have played like 33, 34. He had a really long stint in the second half. So if Bane's out, I would expect Vince to play a ton here.
All right, let's move to the Knicks and Phoenix. On the Knicks side, Mitchell Robinson listed out. No tags for Emmanuel Quickley or Jalen Brunson that we've seen recently, so they should have a healthy backcourt tonight. Mike, what are your notes on the Knicks?
Yeah, just that they've missed Mitch quite significantly. Their rebounding stuff it's a 2-game sample, but we've seen their rebounding stuff really fall off in a big way. So, we used to always like fade any interior player against the Knicks. Now you could do it. So I think he's changed this game. Other than that, great game from DiVincenzo. He's kind of locked in. I think he's going to continue to start. Really good matchup for Julius Randle against a weak rim team on the Suns. But yeah, pretty straightforward. I think we know where we're at, and we'll see how long Sims lasts. I don't know if he's going to last. Do you think how many more Sims starts could we get here?
I would say 3 to 4 at least. I think he's still got a little bit of a leash until it gets to be problematic. Tibbs will just do what we saw is not play him, play him like upper teens and play more Hartenstein off the bench, right? So, yeah, I think they're just trying to see what they have in Sims and give him a shot. I don't think anything's going to happen like imminently, I would say.
I should mention too, the Taj Gibson signing was official. That could be another reason we go, okay, let's just start Hartenstein and bring Taj behind him. Like I could see that happening today.
Yeah, I think he likes Hartenstein off the bench, but we'll see. Obviously, like I think that's as much of Sims starting is Tibbs liking Hartenstein off the bench as it is Tibbs liking Sims, which I think it's a combination of those two things. But I think it's just as much that.
I think the Galaxy brain move here naturally would be Taj Gibson starts tonight.
Yep.
Rico Sims.
No, that's not even Galaxy brain. That's like that's very much Earth brain.
Just a normal thought flowing through Tom Thibodeau's mind there. I will note that Knicks disappointing loss here in Utah. Julius Randle plays awesome, 14 for 23 from the field, plus 13. I don't see a bunch of breakdowns on Jalen Brunson and all the mistakes that he made in this game floating around my timeline on Twitter. But anytime Julius Randle plays poorly and the Knicks lose, there are just copious amounts of Julius Randle FUD on the timeline. Jalen Brunson, man, when he doesn't play well, he gets a free pass with the Knicks Twitter. I will note that. All right, Phoenix side of things. They have listed available Nasir Little. They upgraded Grayson Allen from questionable to available as well. Eric Gordon still listed questionable here. They will have the quote-unquote big three. I don't think they deserve that nickname until they win a game together, but they will have Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, still without Josh Okogie as well. Justin, what are your notes on the Suns?
So Grayson Allen got upgraded to available, and a little tidbit from Suns shoot-around video, we are seeing Grayson Allen and Nasir Little in white jerseys and Keita Bates-Diop in a purple jersey. So Tremezi Metu was playing with the purple jersey when he started, so I would think that means that Grayson Allen might be limited or coming off the bench in his return if he's wearing the white penny, and it might be Keita Bates-Diop as that fifth starter alongside the big three and Nurk. So I don't think that really matters. Like these are guys that are gonna not really make much of an impact and get much usage, but just kind of wanted to add that in. Obviously, Bradley Beal seems like he's pretty much off a minutes limit at this point. He was upper 20s in his debut, played 27 and a half, played a lot in the second half. I think he only played like 11 minutes in the first half of that game. Then got all the way up to 33 and a half last game. So not a whole lot to add, back at relatively full strength. And these supporting pieces like, Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen are really going to obviously take a big hit now that the quote unquote big three are back together.
Yeah, only really two things to add. One, how dare you besmirch saying starters jerseys do not matter, and two, just huge minutes from these guys. Kevin Durant comes out there, plays a ton. Booker plays a ton. Beal plays a ton, and then also third, I should say, Grayson also not expect to have a minutes limit. So, I would thought Grayson would have started to pick up the Brunson assignment. So curious to see how this shakes out.
All right. Well, that will do it for this edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. We did it under an hour on a Friday with the three of us all together. And we even got some fine money from Justin fans. So a great day here at the Established Run headquarters. Make sure to check out all of the good stuff going on at Underdog Fantasy. I wanted to shout out Underdog for some of the Dog Bowl clips and highlights on social. I think one thing that has been missing in this industry is sort of celebrating these live final events that have been happening. Mm-hmm. It was a huge part of the industry kind of growing up. I thought Underdog's social media team and video team did a great job at pumping out content around the Dog Bowl that made people feel aspirational to want to be a part of the Dog Bowl next year. Maybe even Justin will be invited down to the Dog Bowl next year. You never know. Any other stuff we want to promote or hit here, Justin, on Underdog?
No, I mean, appreciate the shout out on the Dog Bowl. Shout out to Luke and all our contact guys. Luke was walking around all weekend with a camera, just capturing all the good stuff. Just got exciting things going on, and pick'ems, BRs, all that good stuff. Check us out.
Awesome. If you enjoy the content that we're posting here, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, get notifications whenever we go live. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel by the end of the NBA season, so we'd appreciate your help. If you're interested in our content behind the paywall, you can check out establishedrun.com/subscribe-NBA for more information on our premium DFS package offerings, along with our props package. We will have more information on a holiday sale coming up next week. We will make sure to keep you in the loop on this channel for those details as well. And of course, if you're supporting this content, please make sure to do what needs to be done and feed that algorithm by smashing that like button. You feed the algorithm, it helps feed our families and allows us to feed you the NBA injury information analysis you need each and every day to set your DFS lineups, your season-long lineups, make your spread bets and your prop bets. So smash that like button. Nom, 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 nom. We'll see you next time.